Welcome back. Today we're talking about a topic that is super close to my heart and should be to every other entrepreneur, which is finding community. As female entrepreneurs, forging connections is really not just about networking. It's really about creating a support system that propels us forward. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let's explore the power of community in this entrepreneur journey. You are listening to That Big CEO Energy, where we talk all things business, life, marriage, and push you to a new edge of discovering what that big CEO energy means for you. Listen, I understand that we have barriers that we carry from when we were once employees, and those have impacted us as we continue to build our businesses. I'm here to walk alongside you and give you encouragement through interviews with friends and other women in business who have broken down those barriers and paved their own way. Tune in with me as we uncover some of the unconscious things that we do that keep us from building that big CEO energy we've always dreamed about. Let's dive in. So before we dive into the how, I want to talk about the why, which is why is finding community so crucial for female entrepreneurs? And really at the heart of it, any type of entrepreneurship, any type of business ownership really can be really, really lonely. It can be really, really isolating. And so when we talk about the isolating nature of what entrepreneurship can bring, there is a few examples that I want to use. And one is that most of us are doing this online virtual business right from the efforts of our own home. And so when we think about just even when I think about my own life, it is I have my family in the evening. My husband goes to work every day. My daughter goes to school and she's off doing her thing. And I'm here holding it down with the animals, right? And there are some days that if I don't have meetings, if I don't have, client interactions, and I'm just sitting down and I'm powerhousing through my work, I can go all day without speaking to someone. And I'll speak to my husband, which is really, really lovely, but it's like text message, right? It's not physical conversation back and forth. And so the other part that can become pretty isolating and lonely is when we're building things, when we are finding new offers, when we are trying to really explore what the next level of our business is. If we don't have a solid core group of people, again, we're talking about support people, not just kind of the cheerleaders that we meet in networking. But when we don't have a solid support system and we're not having conversations with other individuals that maybe share the same line of business or, it can understand the entrepreneurial journey, it can become really lonely. And, I love my husband to death, but I don't want to talk about my business to him. I want to get to know my partner. I want to have conversation with him about other things. I don't want to talk about my business with him. Number one, I don't think it's fair to him that all I'm doing is blabbing about my business and how hard it is. He doesn't care, bless him. But I don't want to do that with him because we have so many other things and we have so much other fun to do that we don't need to be talking about that. So again, it comes back to this isolation, right? And when we have an emotional and a mental support kind of community, it gives us provision during both the highs and lows. And I'll share with you that I went to MamaCon for one of my clients, and this was my very first year learning the ropes. And I will tell you that the community that comes out of that event, the community that shows up to the event, because again, a lot of these women have been meeting virtually, right? A lot of these women know each other through Facebook community. They know each other through the membership. And so when they get together, it was electric. It was, I can't even still put into words what that day does for not only people that are looking for community, but for people in that community that foster it and grow it and collaborate with one another. The amount of collaboration, like if you all could see my face right now, the amount of collaboration that comes out of and is already there by the time the event happens is incredible. And it's not to say that that is something that you need, right? Everybody needs to find what they personally need, which is getting clear on where you are in your business, what makes sense for you, and what you personally need. Does it make sense to have a community? And some people need a bigger community. Other people need a smaller community, but you can find those people, right? And when you find those people, the collaborative opportunities that come out of that, whoa, settle it down. Settle it down. But the why behind it is because the isolation is real. The feeling of I'm doing this all alone and I have to bear every single thought. I have to bear every single emotion by myself. And I don't have someone to really help me understand what can be different. And when you have a community of people, it fosters this learning and this personal growth that all of us need, right? Like I have deemed myself as a lifelong learner, which I think everyone should be. I'm always learning and I'm always growing because that is just who I am and my nature. And I want to be doing that. And again, not to brag on my husband, but he also is a learning mindset too. Like he is always reading. And this is why I call him Sacagawea. Just on a side note, we're going to go off on a little tangent. This is why I call him Sacagawea. It's because he knows the most random things. He reads the most random things. He just has a thought pop into his head and he's off reading about it during dinner. He reads during dinner. And I think it's great. But all of that to say is when we are in a learning and growth mindset, it is really easy to tap into a community that is the same way. And maybe that's a few girlfriends for you right now, right? But I think there's some intentionality that we can bring on how to have different ways of finding a community. And maybe it's starting with a local meetup and a networking event, right? Networking events and local meetups are super, super powerful because it's people right in your community. And if you are looking for, co-working opportunities, if you're looking for someone to just meet up with coffee, or maybe you're both meeting at the coffee shop and you're going to do a power hour working, a working lunch, whatever that is. But when you have meaningful connections face to face and you are networking with other business owners that get it, right? They get the isolation and they're probably there for the same exact thing. It becomes so much more powerful. So if you have an area that have local meetups for entrepreneurs or networking events, or if you have a chamber of commerce, I highly, highly encourage tapping into that as a business owner. Online communities and social media, I kind of just mentioned this with the Mamas and Co. and Mama Con. Like Leanne Kim is just doing it right. When you get into the online forum and when you get into the group, and this is not like a go sign up for MamaCon thing. I have no affiliation. I have no ties. I literally just had one experience in person, and seeing the joy and seeing the community that I get to work with on the back end is the reason why I'm saying this. But the benefits of joining an online forum or a group is, again, coming back to this learning and growing piece, right? Where you're networking with other individuals and you're making meaningful connections face to face. While it's not like, you get to touch them and hug them, right? You can still use social media or Zoom or whatever to connect to the community online. And for some people, that does enough to get them through. And social media platforms, right, are really lovely to connect with other like-minded entrepreneurs. There's tons of hashtags that you can search. And yes, even in 2023, this millennial searches hashtags. Do not discredit hashtags anymore because I honestly, 1/3 of my business comes from hashtags. So if you learn anything from me, it's still put hashtags on your stuff. Okay. The next one that I would say that is pretty important is industry-specific associations. So especially if you are a very niche business, this is super helpful to find associations, to find organizations that provide niche support and resources. Google, right? Google will tell you everything that you need to know about your niche. And so if you are like servicing name tags, I don't know why name tags came up. It's really random, but we're going to go with it. Like if you have a product-based business and you do name tags and you do workbooks and you do like engraving of some kind, like finding specific associations that encourage that niche and provide resources or provide outlets to other businesses that sort of need, right, what it is that you're providing. Getting a small community of those folks is super powerful. But I also think that mentorship programs are at the height of, maybe more important than networking events and local meetups and online communities and social media. But the transformative power of a mentorship for both the mentors and the mentees is just incredible. And finding a mentor, right? Finding a small group of maybe mentors and mentees mixed together. That is where I firmly believe where you can find a community of people that are wanting, needing, and will execute all businesses to propel forward. Now, for some of us, right, we're just looking for community to, chat about the woes of business or, have that personal one-on-one connection. And that's really great. And other people are looking for mentorship opportunities to enhance their business and move their business forward. Both are great. Both you should be doing. But also, if you had to pick or choose one, right, I would pick or choose the one that I can chat with my business about because I know that I have girlfriends to chat about personal life. And so obviously, both of those things, personal life and business, sort of get wrapped into this community that you're wanting to find and build. And that's really great. But the personal impact of community is so much more when you allow yourself to let your guard down. And when we think about it, it's like, how has community impacted the journeys of successful female entrepreneurs, right? Their businesses are not built alone. Anybody that tells you that they single-handedly built their business probably is a liar, right? Right down to like the babysitter or the kids going to daycare or your kids going to school. Like, think about it. If you had to have your kids around you 24/7, nonstop, would you be able to have a successful business? Probably not, right? So when we talk about community, we also have to include those things that we take for granted, which is school systems, grandparents, parents, aunts and uncles, our housekeepers, our grocery delivery people, right? All of those people, the services that you have placed into your personal life to make it so you can sit down and get a sliver of work done, that is community. They are helping you succeed. And so I don't want to take that away from the experience and the community that you might already have. Some of us don't have any of those things. Some of us only have a dream. Some of us are trying to figure out how in the world we're going to get our business off the ground because we have kids with us 24/7. And sometimes it looks like working with the closet door closed. Sometimes it looks like taking a shower and using voice notes on your phone to talk out your ideas. Sometimes it looks like, and this is TMI, sometimes it looks like sitting on the toilet with your laptop to get things done. Some people, that's how they have to build their business. And while it's not fair, while I wish everybody in the world had a community and they have an ability to get what they need on day one, I also want to recognize that that doesn't happen for everyone. And so, yes, some people are self-made in the sense that they scratched and fought from day one all the way until day whatever when they could hire their first person, right? But at the end of the day, it's when we have community and we have a personal impact of community, the pivotal role becomes that you're overcoming challenges. And there are some tips that I have found that work really, really well for finding and building a community. And so I'll just kind of give those to you here, which is be proactive, right? Take the first step in reaching out to potential connections. Don't be shy. I am shy. Ironically enough, and probably most of you that know me are rolling your eyes because you're like, you are not shy. I am shy, but I have learned through corporate, I have learned through being quote unquote on, that I can turn it on. And it's not that it's fake. It is the fact that I am stretching myself to be proactive, to reach out and do something out of the box that I normally wouldn't do. I mean, you see it. If you are on my Instagram, you see that sometimes I will show up for days at a time and then I go quiet. That is an introvert through and through because I need that time to recharge. But anyways, taking the first step in reaching out to potential connections and overcoming this fear of rejection is huge because there is power in you being the one to initiate. Chances are that other person is like, oh my God, I am so glad that somebody reached out to me because I have a fear of rejection and so I wasn't going to make the first move, right? Sometimes that's exactly what they're thinking. But if we can overcome this fear of rejection, like the worst, honestly, y'all, the worst thing that you're ever going to get told in life is no. Like, I don't have time for that. And that's okay. But if all we're hearing is a 2-letter word, no thank you, not at this time, whatever that is, if all we're hearing is no in life, then why wouldn't you keep asking? Like, if that's the worst you're being told, is it really that fearful? Yes. Yes, it is. I get it. I have been really, really fearful of hearing the word no. It's an awful word sometimes. But honestly, the older you get and the more you hear it, it's like, okay, you're not for me. And that's okay. You just keep moving along. But the other part of being proactive in that is offering support, right? The importance of reciprocating in building lasting relationships is that when you do get the yes and you start to create the potential connections, it's supporting each other. And in addition to, it's creating a positive feedback loop. So when I say positive feedback, it also comes with the fact of having hard conversations. You can do that in a positive environment. Some people don't like the fact that I say a positive feedback loop because it sounds a little, we should be positive all the time. And that's not what I'm saying. The word positive, yes, invokes a high energy that is good, but also you can have hard conversations and have it be in a positive way of, have you considered? Have you thought about? What I'm noticing is, what would make more sense to me, and you can tell me if that's different, is, and so when you hear it in that way, right, as a side to, oh, I would do that. Are you kidding? That's going to cost you a ton of money. Gosh, that really doesn't make sense. I don't even know why you would do the thing. Right? There's the difference between the positive and negative. You can have hard conversations about things and ask people, have they considered? And not get tripped up on the fact that someone's trying to attack you. Someone is making you feel less than. Someone is making you feel dumb, right? About the decision. And you can very easily get in that feedback loop of feeling dumb in a sense of community when all people are saying is, yeah, I wouldn't do that. But then they don't offer anything else. Right? It's like, okay, you told me I shouldn't do the thing, but what else do you have? Where when you're showing up in conversations that you are designed and you want to offer support, it's like, I think that idea could work and it could not work because have you considered, right? My therapist taught me years ago, and I say years ago, like 2 years ago, when baby Kallai was just entering therapy, that you can have a different conversation and you can say like, have you thought about X, Y, and Z? And chances are, if you're thinking about it, they haven't been thinking about it and they need to hear what it is that you're trying to say. So that's a really long explanation of a positive feedback loop, but I feel like we can get there when we are in community and have really, really good conversations. Like when you open up the door to saying, have you considered, have you thought about, it invokes a deeper conversation. Also, number 3 is diversify your network. So here's the thing. When we get in community, sometimes it is all the same people. It's all the same people. When I look around in my community of business owners, and don't get me wrong, don't get this twisted. I love the community that I live in. But when I look around, there are the same entrepreneurs from the same community that we have all grown up in, and there is not very much diverse background. And so if you're like me and you live in a community that is such that, I would encourage you to go and seek and connect with other entrepreneurs from diverse backgrounds and diversify your network and diversify your community. The reason for that is because I never, and this is just a personal preference to me, I never want to get trapped into thinking I need to sell to people or thinking I need to be in community with people that are just like myself. Because honestly, at the end of the day, it does not provide any value when we stay in our little bubble, when we hibernate with the same exact people that we are living in community with, when we are networking with. Don't get me wrong, it is enriched connection when you do have a network of people that is close to you, but imagine the possibilities of an enriching experience that comes from a variety network. You learn so much more. And so if it's true, right, that we are on a learning path, that we want to be forever learning in our businesses and forever learning about who we are in our business, then it only makes sense to diversify your network. Number 4 is attend workshops and conferences. The benefits of participating, and I'm going to come back to MamaCon, But the benefits of participating in events like MamaCon or any other workshop and conference that creates such a high vibe energy, those relationships go beyond networking. Those relationships go beyond the event. And some of those relationships started before the event. So if it's a workshop or conference that is put together by a person that is building a community, I would encourage you to tap into the community now, even if the workshop and the conference isn't until later. But how these experiences contribute to professional and personal growth is you are stretched and you're molded, and you learned different things from each workshop and each conference. Again, diversifying your network, doing something different, right? It's not about just the people that are filling the room that is diversifying your network. It's about diversifying your network in different types of businesses, in different workshops, in different conferences, in different other support communities. That's where the diversification also happens. And so when you attend workshops and conferences and you are full attentive for the full day, oh my, the benefits that come out of that, again, are just beyond the networking piece. So as we wrap up today's episode, I hope that you feel inspired to really seek out and nurture your own entrepreneur community. And remember, in this world of business, right? In the online world of business, we're not just colleagues. We're not just sharing our little corners of the internet together. Like, we are allies on a shared journey. And if we're saying it's true that we are all in for everybody to make it and be what their best version of successful is, then we have to pour into each other. We have to support each other. We have to make sure that we are building one another up with a positive feedback loop. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your fellow entrepreneurs. But until next time, keep thriving together. Thanks for tuning into the show today. If you heard something that helped you, I would love it if you would leave a review and share it with your friends. This helps more people just like you become inspired to move the needle of their big CEO energy into a positive direction. If you would like to learn more about how I can help you streamline and position your business for growth or lead your business as a CEO, feel free to jump into the show notes with all of the links to find me. And don't forget to head over to Instagram so we can be pals.